Just bringing it up, I start to get teary.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It's like I wanted to feel the degradation.
Lawsuit alleges that after a private party for Will Smith, Jada and her entourage confronted him at the Regency Calabasas Commons. She said that if he didn't stop talking about her, he would end up missing or catch a bullet.
Jada Pinkett Smith is in the middle of a thing, namely
a big legal thing.
A big legal thing because, according to someone, Jada threatened to put a bullet in them. Someone who is a close friend of Will's.
So he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him.
Everybody loved Will Smith. That was the whole point. You were not supposed to look too closely at the marriage. You were not supposed to ask why his closest friend of 40 years just filed a $3 million lawsuit, saying Jada told him he would catch a hit if he kept talking. You were not supposed to connect the dots between the people around them and the names that keep coming up in the biggest scandals Hollywood has ever seen. But here's the thing, the dots are not subtle anymore. And the man who spent 30 years smiling through all of it is starting to crack. This is what they did not want you to find out.
The Red Table Talk in July 2020 when Jada, got all entangled with August.
I mean, because this is your red table and you brought yourself to the red table. I think you need to say clearly what happened.
As far as what?
You and I.
The false narrative that I helped to create on the Red Table. Yeah, and then I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said.
An entanglement?
Yes.
So poor Will because of
the adulterous wife.
Yeah.
Who forced him to go to the table and sit there.
Jada, come on, you didn't force him there to be there in that moment, but you forced him into this conversation. And what's going to happen is that if you're sitting there by yourself and you said, you guys were separated at the time, the next question is Will going to verify that story? So then Will would have to make a statement, do his own video. So he's basically just being more efficient with his time by just sitting there instead of doing it 2 hours after you posted this video. So yeah, you kind of did force him to be there, Jada. He has to verify his story. So if he didn't verify it then, you'd have to verify it later, and you'd have to spend more time in this. So yeah, you forced him. But anyways, yeah, she does not like the poor Will narrative that's out there, and apparently, I guess these interviews are supposed to put her in a good light and put Will in a bad light. That's not what's happening.
Most people remember this moment. Jada was sitting at that table, admitting to the world that she had been involved with August Alsina while still married to Will. She called it an entanglement. The internet called it a confession. But look at how she handled it. She was not apologizing. She was managing. There's a big difference between a woman coming clean and a woman controlling the story before someone else tells it for her. And the moment you see that difference, you cannot unsee it. Now listen to Will here. Really listen. What he is describing is not a marriage in any traditional sense. By their own admission, they were not even living together from 2016 onwards. Jada's own memoir confirmed that. So, when Will walked onto that Oscar stage in 2022 and did what he did, he was publicly defending a relationship that had not existed in any real form for 6 years. And what is wild is that even after all of that came out, she still had enough of a hole on him that he was willing to blow up his entire legacy over it. People who have been close to them have alleged that this was not really a marriage. It was closer to a contract, one where both sides had too much on each other, ever fully to walk away.
My thing is, I knew Will prior to him with Jada. And once he got with Jada, he smelled like a skunk, right? And she manipulated, and I've seen the manipulation. I've seen the things that she's done, and I've seen how he follows her. Because like I said, this is not about civil, this is about criminal.
Here is where it gets interesting. Will Smith wrote a memoir, a whole book about his life, his relationships, his inner circle. And in that book, he personally named Bilal Salam as one of his closest friends. 40 years, the kind of friendship most people never find once in a lifetime. So when that exact man, the one Will chose to put in his own book, files a $3 million lawsuit against Jada, you have to stop and ask yourself why.
Tony Busby wanted to represent him.
Really?
Right? But that was it was with Will, it was with Jada, and it's with Diddy. See, what a lot of people don't understand, Will and Diddy relationship is tight, and there's some criminality within that I saw. All that's in the book too, right? So much to the fact that Will took to a show in San Diego, got up on stage talking about, hey, I ain't cool with Diddy. I don't mess with him. No, Will, you do mess with him. And y'all have done things that I believe to be criminal, especially if you look at Bashir Gray, So don't play no games. All this stuff, all these people that's covering it, Megyn Kelly, you didn't even know Mario from XX Hollywood. Now I'm getting all these big media giants covering my story, right? About the lawsuit and the allegations and all kind of stuff. You know why? Because I got factual proof. I'm going to jail if I've told this many lies with this much paperwork. This much paperwork. If I'm telling lies, I'm going to jail. So this is not no hoax. This is going to be bigger than the Diddy scandal. Jada is diabolical. Like I said before, I do believe that she's done things with minor kids. I do believe, and I know for a fact that she's done inappropriate things with Will and Jada Smith. With Willow and Jaden's friends. Then also the people that she had around her from the Church of Scientology, they were like robots.
Because this is not some random person looking for attention. This is someone Will trusted enough to write about. And according to the court filing, what Bilal alleges is that Jada walked up to him at a private birthday party for Will with her crew behind her and allegedly told him he would catch a hit if he did not stop talking about what he knew. Now think about that for a second. A woman allegedly threatening the man, her husband, just publicly called one of his closest friends at his own birthday party. That level of confidence in silencing someone does not come from nowhere. Bilal also alleges that after the Oscar slap, he was brought in to help with damage control, and that when he saw what that actually involved, he refused to participate. And the moment he said no, he claims everything in his life started falling apart. Career, relationships, health, all of it. Jada has denied every single one of these allegations and called the whole thing a shakedown. And a judge did award her legal fees on part of the case. But here's what you cannot deny. This man put his name on a legal document in a California court and said what he saw. People do not do that for fun.
So as people know, or something a lot of people didn't know, I was living in Medellin, Colombia. And just really quick, a guy named Fernando was my assistant out there. He would drive me around, help me out, do whatever I needed to do. And when we pulled up in front of my apartment one day, it was a policeman out there. Then there was one guy who I know to be a private investigator. And then there were two other people with black pants and white tops. Now, these are Scientology outfits, and I'm not saying they're Scientologists. So they go away after a while. The next day, me and Fernando are driving down the road, and a car tries to run us over the embankment, and they were successfully able to run us over the embankment. And I've suffered some major injuries. Yeah, major injuries.
And you assume that has to do with someone related to Jada?
Oh, Jada and the Church of Scientology, without question. This is real, because I know for a fact that Danny Masterson and Will and Jada was at Will and Jada house. So this was going on while, now for those who don't know, Danny Masterson was a Scientologist and is now in jail for 30 years to life or something for using people within Scientology. So what I'm saying is it possible Will and Jada was involved in that behavior too? We're gonna find out.
And it does not stop there. Bilal has also alleged in public statements that Jada had deep ties to Scientology. Now that alone might not mean much to most people, but remember that this is the same organization that Danny Masterson belonged to. The same Danny Masterson, who was a documented friend of Will and Jada for years, appeared in their social circle publicly, and is now sitting in prison after being convicted of heinous crimes. Being friends with someone who later turns out to be a pred does not automatically make you guilty of anything. But when you are already the subject of allegations about silencing people and controlling those around you, the company you chose to keep starts painting a very specific picture. Bilal also claims that at one point he suffered serious injuries in what he believes was not a random accident, and that the people connected to that incident moved in the same circles. He has not been able to prove that connection, but he has said it on the record. And after a lawsuit, a near miss, and 40 years of loyalty, this is not a man who seems like he is making things up for attention.
Jada had hard drives that contained on them.
Like Diddy? Like Diddy tapes?
Yeah, it's like that. It's exactly like that, right?
Was she bringing in other people, filming the other people and all that stuff?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
so wait, you're saying Jada's the next Diddy?
Now, I'm only saying these things so if they come out, people know I know what I'm talking about. But when it becomes criminals, when you coerce people, when you give them money, when there's drugs there's always alcohol.
And you
there.
saw
There's
that. You saw that in the tapes.
Yes, there's always Tushi there. There's always ayahuasca, and there's always shrooms, psychedelics there. Right? This is a part of Will and Jada's life, drugs and drinking. Right? Forget what you see in public. And when these people on the tape, Alfonso Ribero's on there, Tyrese is on it, right? There are a bunch of people that's on, and I am saying this, right? I'm saying this, and I'm in open court. I dare y'all to play with me because y'all know what y'all did. Jada, you know what you did to another one of Jaden's friends. That boy is messed up for life.
Now here is where the story shifts from a messy Hollywood marriage into something a lot more serious. Because among all the allegations Bilal has made, there is one that stands out. He has alleged in public statements that Jada had access to recorded material connected to the same kind of operation that federal prosecutors have now documented in the Diddy and Epstein case. Let that sit for a second. He is not talking about gossip. He is allegedly talking about recordings of people used as leverage. And according to Bilal, this was not passive. He claims that this material was actively used to build what he describes as a library of control over young artists and vulnerable people in the industry. Now, these are Bilal's allegations, but here is what makes this harder to dismiss than a typical celebrity rumor. The behavior he is describing, collecting compromising recordings, using them to keep people in line, targeting anyone who tries to walk away, is not a theory. It is a documented method. Federal prosecutors laid it out in detail in the Diddy and Epstein case. Investigators documented it for years in the Epstein network. The same playbook, used by different people, in different rooms, over different decades. And what Bilal is alleging is that a version of that playbook was allegedly being run a lot closer to home than anyone realized. Whether that is true is something only the courts can ultimately decide. But the fact that a named individual with 4 decades of proximity to this family is saying it out loud, on the record, is not something you can just scroll past.
Ready? How we gonna do the entrance of it though?
I don't know, you're the artist.
All right, here we go. It's your boy, Sheer Gray, here, Empire. What's up, man?
That was great. Thanks. Congratulations on the success of the show. I mean, last year it seemed like it was like just a big train that came in and just kept going along. You guys set ratings records and everything. Did you expect that at all when you got the pilot script?
No, not at all. It just kind of just blew up out of nowhere, man, really. And just from the music to the acting, put it together. It's a great project.
And how has it changed your life personally? I mean, just all the success. I mean,
oh man, from everything.
I've been to events, people are screaming your name all the time.
Man, it's like traveling from city to city. People know my face everywhere I go. It's a huge blessing, man. It's just, I'm happy to be a part of something that's inspirational to the world and it means something to the world. And my character is kind of mean, but he means something to the world.
Look at this guy. This is Brycer Gray, Hakeem Lion on Empire, one of the biggest shows on television at the time. His face was everywhere. His music was moving. He was in his early 20s, and the industry was wide open for him. This is what it looks like when everything is about to take off.
I'm watching him, he's with my man Charlie Mack, so Charlie was with me every step of the way. First out the limo, so Charlie has been with me, 30 years coming up in the business. So, he's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love, and all he has to do is add discipline, and he gonna be all right.
Just like Uncle Will, you know, who is best to give you advice? And it's Will Smith, and I'm getting so much good advice. I got my first acting role, Empire, and it's changing my life. And it's like I'm listening from the greatest, and it's like making me well prepared to work with Taraji and Terrence Howard, you know.
And this is Will Smith talking about mentoring him. Proud, generous. The big brother energy was fully switched on. But here's the thing. Watch Bryce's face while Will is talking. Will is describing a relationship that sounds like a blessing. Bryce looks like a man who already knows something Will is pretending not to know. There is no excitement there, no gratitude, just wait. And once you see that, you cannot explain it away.
There is a conspiracy that these crimes were a result of him being allegedly forced into inappropriate relations with P. Diddy and Will Smith. Essentially, the theory is that the way that he experienced Hollywood and the things he was forced to do just put him on a downward spiral. Again, no excuse for harming your wife for multiple hours and choking her. I mean, that's a sick person.
Being a celebrity sometimes comes with, like, everybody wants to be successful in a celebrity and stuff like that, but it comes with, you know, sometimes, and you know, that's the only thing that I hate about it.
So let's talk about why Bryce is now trying to take Will and Diddy to court. And for a pretty penny, $50 million. Now we have a blind item. I suspect the soon to step forward male victim of SA by this A-list mogul will not be the last man to do so. And this was about Diddy. Now, of course, we've learned a lot about Diddy, especially through my videos these past couple months. But the allegation is that Bryce was SA'd by Diddy and Will Smith. The allegations claim that Will Smith and Diddy forced him into freak-off sessions similar to the ones with Cassie, with both men against his will. Early on in his career, you can hear interviews of Bryce referring to Diddy and Will Smith as his mentors. It's now believed that both men were SA'ing him. Again, this is all alleged. After cutting off his relationship with Will and Diddy, Bryce felt that he was blackballed from the music industry and in Hollywood. Many have tried to understand what's going on with Bryce's career and why it took a downward spiral with two powerful men advocating for him. Now let's break into this lawsuit and what he could be suing them for. Because the lawsuit was filed and claims that Will Smith and Diddy were jealous of Bryce's success and talent, and they used their influence and connections to spread false rumors about him, blacklist him from projects, and interfere with his contracts. The lawsuit also accuses Will Smith and Diddy of orchestrating his arrest in 2020 when he was charged with domestic violence, which I don't really know how Will Smith and Diddy could control that moment. Bryce's lawyer said that his client is a victim of malicious and a coordinated campaign by Will Smith and Diddy, two of the most powerful and vindictive men in Hollywood. Of course, these two have not responded to this lawsuit, but they have been dismissed as baseless and delusional claims from Bryce. They also pointed out that Bryce has a history of legal troubles and erratic behavior that he might be trying to deflect from. But there may be people out here who can corroborate his statements. For example, a singer named Jaguar Wright said in an interview that Will Smith and Diddy have done this to Bryce. Quote, they told Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith that are both they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them and their mentorship. Meek Mill's, Bryce Gray have left that house screaming. And to imagine like going to these people's homes and then being, I guess, pushed to the point where you're running and screaming, it makes me so like, I don't know, I just am shocked at what they could be going through and that this is like a known thing.
They're both they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills, Bashir Gray left that house screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed the help.
Hey, man.
And that was they kid's friend.
Now there's another person in the music industry.
Jaguar Wright is not someone who whispers things quietly and then backs out. She has been saying this out loud for years. And what she claims is that Will's mentorship was not just a nice industry gesture. She alleges it was the specific door through which Bryce was walked into a world he never would have found on his own. She names Will, She names Diddy, and she describes a young man who went in with everything and came out of it unrecognizable. Now these are her allegations, unproven in any courtroom, but she has said them on record more than once, and she has never taken any of it back.
They're both bisexual. They do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills, Bashir Gray left that house screaming. August the only one that stayed, and I guess he was really sick. He needed the help.
And she is not being vague about it either. What Wright is describing is a pattern. A young person was brought in through someone they trusted, someone they looked up to, and then allegedly put into situations where they had no real power to refuse. We are not here to sensationalize what she claims happened inside those rooms, but we are here to ask why nobody who was supposed to protect this young man ever did.
Well, the incident happened in July when Empire was on filming break because of COVID. Bashir Gray is now out on bond but charged with several felonies for aggravated assault and kidnapping. We know Bashir Gray from his role as Hakeem Lyon on the hit show Empire, not for what police say unfolded inside his Goodyear home in July. Police responding to a domestic violence call. New documents obtained by 12 News show what police believe happened that night. Gray's wife of 9 months, Candace Jimdar, called 911 saying Gray assaulted her. The documents reveal she told officers the violence lasted for about 3 hours, saying he punched her more than 100 times after she confronted him for texting other women. She says he claimed the messages were fake, then choked her and pulled a knife on her, only stopping to smoke weed. In the paperwork, Jimdar told investigators she was able to escape when Gray drove her to get rolling paper. When he stopped at a gas station, she flagged someone down for help. When she got to a hospital, the documents say staff noted bruising all over her body, along with injuries consistent with strangulation. This is Gray's mugshot from that night, after police arrested him near his home. Documents say he didn't admit to hurting his wife, instead telling officers that she was trying to kill herself, and some of the injuries were from rough sex. His wife telling officers he's diagnosed with bipolar disorder and ADHD, but won't take his medicine.
Because then July 2020 happened. Brycer's wife ran to a gas station in Arizona and begged strangers to call the police. She said he had been hurting her for hours. When officers showed up, he locked himself inside the house. It took 9 hours to get him out. And when the body cam footage surfaced, people who remembered him from Empire genuinely could not reconcile what they were seeing. This was not a man having a bad night. This was someone whose entire internal world had apparently been collapsing for a long time before anyone on the outside noticed. Reports followed about a bipolar diagnosis and substance issues that had been escalating quietly for years. The internet posted the clips and said how sad and kept scrolling. Nobody asked the harder question: what happened between the interview, where he was laughing, electric, and full of life, and the man in that footage? That gap does not fill itself.
I'm willing to. And that's all. The phone was in the neighborhood, so that's it. But I felt like you guys will understand me and listen to me. I'm willing to. And that's all. The phone was in the neighborhood, so that's it with the phone.
I'm willing to, and I still want to, and we're having a good conversation. But you're talking in circles, man. You're talking about things that don't make sense, that don't add up.
What, the open relationship?
No. I'm okay with that. I mean, that's your business. Okay. You know, I wouldn't tell you that's okay or not okay. I'm talking about, you went
to the phone.
Well, that's one of the things. You went to John's. I know, but you already told me you had your phone there at John's house. I asked you if you took your phone, how many phones you had. You told me just one phone.
Yeah, because I'm looking at you and I'm realizing that you're a person just like me. Well,
conveniently, after I told you we were going to find the location of the phone.
No. I'm realizing.
You got to see how I'm seeing it.
I know, because I deal with different type of IQs and stuff like that. So when you ask me a question, I visualize that I did have a phone in hand to text my neighbor. My neighbor texts John. We're all in the same community. So I did have a phone. So when I look at you, I say, man, when you asked me, did you have a phone? I didn't get the chance to just breathe. I said, yes, I had a phone, but I didn't. I should have told you. That's what I should have did. I should have just broke it up, but you was asking so many questions, back to back, and I'm just trying to answer them right. So what I'm saying to you is,
Okay, so let's start over.
Okay. I know, I could feel you want to be honest. Are you a bit nervous at all right now?
I got asthma.
You got asthma?
That's all.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, trying to process food. So unprocessed food as well.
Yeah.
Again, we're just trying to clarify the information here. Do you have a phone number for John?
No.
You don't have a phone number for John?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Well, you can get it from your neighbor, right?
We're trying to figure out the situation.
This is not a story about a young man who could not handle fame. Fame does not do this to people. What you are watching in this footage is the cost of something specific, something that happened to him, and the people whose names keep appearing in his story, the ones who opened the doors, who called themselves his mentors, who stood next to him on red carpets and took the credit for his rise, have never once been publicly asked to account for his fall. Not one interview, not one statement. They just moved on, like he never happened. So here are the only two questions that actually matter. If everything Bilal and Jaguar have alleged is even partially true, and a system like that was running inside one of the most famous households in the world, then who else got pulled into it that we do not know about yet? And if Will Smith has spent 30 years as the public face of that household, the man who smiled through all of it and kept the image intact, what happens to everything he has been covering the moment he finally decides he is done? If you like this video, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on any new videos. And until then, fam, keep it real.